was waiting for a beep.
No, you didn't get a beep.
Well, I gave myself a beep.
Ah, we forgot our intro music too.
Oh, we did. Damn it.
That's alright, next time.
Next time.
Welcome to episode 16 of OnBullshit.
Because we found bullshit we talk about, and we share it with the world.
Exactly. We share our opinions and thoughts and everything else.
Everything else. And now we're going to share how we come to our topics.
So you have Twitter open.
I do have Twitter open. I haven't seen anything that I want to talk about yet. Because everything's about the Emmys tonight. I don't care about the Emmys.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird night to record.
But, like, why are they happening on Sunday night? People are, like, hating their life on Sunday night because tomorrow's Monday.
I have, like, no knowledge about any of the awards shows and the Emmys and the Oscars and all that, so I have no clue.
I don't either. Oh, there is that thing from ABC News that I mentioned briefly. The location scouts for the Narcos show. Mm-hmm. That they found people shot to death in the farmlands in Mexico City.
Dang.
So there's that. And we've talked about this already, but that led us to my story with my family.
Yes.
And then that led us to drugs.
You should go ahead and tell the story. I think it's worth mentioning.
Okay, so my story with my family is my grandparents, they are U.S. residents, but like every once in a while they go spend a few months down in Mexico. One of my grandpa's sisters, she lives here, she's a citizen, but she also goes down there every once in a while for like vacation type things. This past week, her and her husband, they were asked to like take some stuff from here down there, but they've got money. My uncle, he works in the oil field, so they've got money. So they made the choice to take their nice pickup and drive it down there. And then I'm waiting for it, like I had to ask my mom a question. I'm waiting for her to text me back. Didn't happen. Next day she calls me and she's saying, I didn't answer your question. I was buying tickets for the Disney on Ice show.
Oh, right.
And she'd given me her credit card number, all that stuff, told me how many to get, all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. She says, she calls me, tells me I didn't get a chance to answer your question on the text because of everything that's happening with your grandparents. And then she was about ready to hang up on me. I'm like, whoa. What's happening with my grandparents? And she's like, oh, I didn't tell you. In my head, I'm like, no shit, I live a whole hour away. No one tells me anything. Right. So she's telling me that my grandparents and my aunt and uncle, because they were all together, mm-hmm. got held up at gunpoint, like the gun straight up, point blank, in my grandpa's chest, and they got robbed of the 2 pickups that they had with them.
So no biggie, right?
No biggie, right? Because who cares that it's down in Mexico? Right. So it doesn't affect us up here. Well, I mean, yeah, it does, because now they have 2 nice trucks. I think those trucks were like 2015, 16, or 17. Like nice, almost brand new trucks. Yeah. Like a big, like F-150, mm-hmm. like cabin and a half.
Decked
like,
out.
Yeah, not decked out, but like clearly expensive. So, moral of the story is, if you're in Mexico and you own a nice car, you're gonna get robbed. So that's my story.
Sorry, kind of off topic, but like, I still love driving my Toyota pickup because apparently it's the truck choice of ISIS. I feel like if I was in the Middle East, like, people would appreciate my Toyota pickup.
And, leave you alone.
Yeah.
Or attack you.
Yeah, or they'd be like, you join ISIS with your Toyota pickup.
Yeah, you're fitty.
Could go either way.
Yeah, and since we were talking about that, we started talking about the cartels.
Yes.
And how they have all these government officials in their pockets.
Yes.
Like, why there's so many Mexican corrupt government people.
I feel like it's important to reiterate, too, right here, like, we should be very fortunate, like, we live in the U.S. and we just don't have, like...
situations like this.
Yes. In like, chaotic elections where, you
know it's rigged, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. And people, like, might kill you from the opposition party,
Yeah, like I've told you, there's a lot of corrupt politicians because it's not 100% because they want to be, But most of the time it's because they are threatened by the cartels, like, go along with what we want or we're gonna kill not just you, but your entire family. And we're gonna make you watch while we kill them. It's that kind of thing, like, why things are so bad down there. It's part of the reason. Like, on top of poverty, on top of, like, all the indigenous people, like, being extra poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have that line of poverty where we here in the U.S. think of poverty, and, like, a line underneath that is the indigenous people down there.
Right.
They're, like, barely above being homeless. Because it's not a thing that you see, because no one wants to advertise this about their indigenous people, but, like, what is the name of the indigenous people in Australia?
Oh, the Aborigines or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that because they're still living in little, like, huts made of mud down there. It's that kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's like, there's bad health. They don't necessarily have a sewage system. They're like a subspecies of people is how they're treated down there.
I don't know what it is. Like, this seems to happen just universally because it's the same way, like you said, in Australia, and then even New Zealand, it was that way with their native
Africa,
population.
like all the African countries.
Yes, Africa too, especially South Africa.
Yeah. Like, you don't see that here because of all the shit that the Europeans did to the Native Americans, so they've had recompense for that.
Right.
And then the white people screwed them over. Anyway, so...
If you ever want to see the effects of colonization, visit one of these countries.
For real. At least, the Mexican indigenous people, they still have their language.
Yeah.
And they still have their culture. It wasn't taken from them like it was with the Native Americans in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we always get, when you do history, they always get, like, the whole Trail of Tears. But no one understands the actual impact that this had on the tribes.
Right.
Like, with the whole, we're going to put you in these reservations, but we're going to take your kids. So you don't teach your kids the language, and they don't know the culture. So there's, like, an entire generation separation that they didn't know anything about being Native American. And that is sad.
It is.
It's so sad because that's how you get all these traditions that are starting to die.
All the languages, and you're right.
That's depressing.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'm always, like, having a hard time morally deciding, like, where I stand on, like, technology versus,
Tradition?
Yeah, because, like, you kind of get to that point, I mean, building along what you were saying, to where, like, you would see, like, the younger generation of, like, these Native Americans, like, even on reservations, and, like...
They can't communicate.
Yeah. And they, like, you probably just, like, see them standing out there on, like, an iPhone or something, and just, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just... It happens universally now. Like, everyone is just, like... The younger generations are shifting towards this very, maybe over technological focus now, to where tradition seems to not matter so much anymore. And you could argue, like, this is kind of a good thing in the sense that it feels like the melting pot is still working.
It is, but it might be, with all the advancements that we have and how everyone's, like, pretty much glued to their phone 24/7.
Yeah.
People are starting to lose their sense of self.
Yeah.
It's starting to get to a point where they don't know where they're coming from anymore. All they know is, like, they understand conceptually that there is a thing such as tradition, but it's not as important to them because to them, tradition is something that you go search for on YouTube and find a video of it, and you feel like you know what it is, but it's not immersive. You're not participating. You're not putting in, like, back to the Native Americans things. You're not gathering the materials over years to, like, put together a traditional costume for yourself to participate in, like, any kind of, in, like, dance or any kind of ritual. From, like, I think it's been a long time, but I think I was doing some kind of research on their headdresses. And if I remember right, I might be wrong. I haven't researched this in a long time, but like, you know those big hairdresses that they wear. I think the Braves, the warriors, whoever, they're supposed to gather all the feathers themselves over like a lifetime. I can't remember if it's gather, like go out and find them, or earn the feathers for your headdress. So like you get all these people that go out and they buy it. They haven't earned it. Like, you have to earn the right to wear that headdress.
I did not know that.
Like, I can't remember where I read that, but, like, I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. You know, I'll look it up.
So you're not supposed to be a white person in a music video wearing that and dancing around and showing up to these big events?
Fuck no. No. Let's see. What does Google say about... See? I'm Googling something about tradition right now.
Absolutely.
Even though it's not my tradition, but it's still a tradition of a place where I'm living.
Yes.
Let's see. Earn the...
I was just going to say, while you're doing that, I do think it's unfortunate, like, how many people don't bother to even really learn about their family origins or traditions of, like, the cultures that they were born into, necessarily now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should necessarily blame technology, but I think it's a big part of it.
Okay, so, surprisingly, this is an article from the Cosmopolitan. Let's see. It's about a festival outfit, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't care about the people that go to it. I want to see why not to wear the headdress. Oh, see, I didn't see who wrote the article, but they said, I'm a member of the Muskogee Nation, but I spent the better part of my youth uneducated about my Native American heritage. See, she knew that I'm saying she, I don't know who wrote it. They knew their last name was Big Horse, and their grandpa was the treasurer of the Otoe Missouri tribe. I'm pretty sure I butchered that. That's all she knew. So, blah, blah, blah. They put on a headdress and took a photo. And it says it belonged to my great-great-grandfather. I'm assuming they're talking about the headdress. What's it say? Take it for a minute. It's a cultural appropriation, I guess. Okay, so it is a woman that wrote this, because she wrote what most people don't know is that by tradition, women do not typically wear full war bonnets, which is what they call the headdress.
Okay.
Like the feathered thing.
Yeah,
So these are reserved for respected elders and men who have earned the right to wear them. So, you can't wear it if you haven't earned it. And you see all these people, like you said, in music videos wearing them, and you can clearly tell that they are not Native American. Like, in any sense of the word, they're like straight up white people that don't have any of the features of Native Americans.
Well, and I feel like we should probably go ahead and just dive into it. I think there's an important part to explain about cultural appropriation, like, and why it's so frustrating. Like, for a minority part, you know, a lot of people, I think, just minorities that aren't even, like, necessarily, like, you know, like, part American or part whatever in the country they're in, even though their parents were descendants from another country. It's just the fact that, like, these minorities can't and are often scared to go around, like, in traditional garb or, you know, to practice their traditional values because they'll
be mocked or targeted or attacked or, like, ridiculed in some form.
Exactly. You get, like you said, it's just people are bigoted assholes.
They are. Like,
and you get...
There's that... I keep thinking it's a trope, but there's that assumption that everyone who is racist is white. No. Right. Racism, the fact that if someone says you're racist, it doesn't mean... You can't assume that they're saying you're racist because you're white. Because I could be called racist because I don't know anything about Native Americans, but I'm talking about Native Americans. That can be considered racism. And Like, your defense against racism can't be, I can't be racist, I'm insert minority.
Right.
That is not a valid racism defense.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Minorities can also be racist assholes.
Yes, they can. Like, Chinese people.
Right.
They will be racist against you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, pick any, like, minority, and if you go to their country, typically you will find another race of people that are typically, that experience, you know, horrible bias and discrimination.
Yeah. So, racism is not confined to only white people.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we're in the U.S., so naturally white people are...
predominant.
Yeah, the majority.
But you also cannot assume that every white person you see is of European descent.
Right.
Like, sure, there is probably some European in them somewhere down the line, but, like, my mama white. she is very clearly Mexican,
mm-hmm.
but, like, she's got the dark hair, the light skin. You've seen my mom.
Yeah.
It's like, my sister and my niece and nephew, they all look like white people. The only people in my family that don't look white is me and my dad. You've seen us. We look very clearly not white.
Yeah.
So,
typically
like,
easier to identify, yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we can't be racist.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but, like, I guess getting back to, like, the cultural appropriation thing,
yes.
it's frustrating because, like, people are constantly worried about discrimination, and then to have, like, in this case, again, I use this because we're in the U.S., a white person just kind of come and say, this seems cool now. And
I want to do it.
Yeah, and not really even appreciating, like, the culture and what you're taking and walking around with, like you said, the headdresses.
Yeah.
Like, it's just such a slap in the face of the race whose items you're borrowing.
Yeah, and the worst part is you can't call them out on it.
Yeah, right.
because they'll be like, don't you want me to, like, promote, honor, expose your traditions? Like, not like this.
And it's like, yeah, it's great that you're enthusiastic about this, but you're not actually appreciating, like, what we'd have to go through to wear that.
You're not appreciating, and you're not following the protocol on being able to wear whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they literally just wake up one day and decide, this is cool now.
Yeah, I want to be an Instagram model and just promote that.
Right.
It's kind of like the whole...
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
It's bullshit.
So much bullshit, oh my god. And, like, we're not even talking about politics, and we're finding a bunch of, like, a lot of shit that's just, like, we just talk about everything that's wrong with the world.
I did want to get your opinion on this because I was having this conversation with my buddy. We're having a hard time figuring this out. I think there's some racism here, but right along the lines of what we were talking about. So we were arguing whether or not, if you weren't necessarily attracted, if you didn't typically find people from another type of race or even of a certain skin color to be attractive, would that inherently make you a racist if, like, you wouldn't have any problems, like, making friends with them or spending time with them, you just aren't particularly ever attracted? I tend to kind of lean towards, it's not like a blatant kind of racism, but there is some racist ideas there, and I feel like you should maybe question why you wouldn't.
It feels like it's not racism begot from, like, your parents or your environment, but it sounds like it's the racism that's underlying in the media.
Maybe so.
Because, like, about 98% of the models that you see out there that are held up as, like, not the epitome, what's it called? Like, the representation of beauty.
Right.
They are not going to be dark-skinned.
Exactly.
So, like, from a young age, you're conditioned to find the lighter skin tones to be the attractive people.
I think he hit the nail on it, and that's kind of what I was talking to him about. I was like, I really do think there's almost like a discriminatory, like, conditioning we get.
Yes,
it's like
subliminal messages.
Exactly. Fair-skinned people are beautiful. Dark-skinned people are just
there.
Yeah, they're just people there.
Like, you're not necessarily going to treat them like they're subhuman.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find them attractive. Even though their features are, like, stuff that you are attracted to, once you hit the skin pigmentation, your brain tells you, but everyone says that this is not what you should be attracted to.
Exactly.
So you're going to have that film in front of your face until you learn how to get past it. And, you know.
It's why I think, in a way, like, although I'm not typically someone that supports, like, quotas and things like that when hiring and trying to find, you know, well, I support some affirmative action, and then sometimes I don't, just depending on the situation. But anyway, I'm glad to see, like, more representation, especially in, like, Hollywood and movies.
Yeah.
The fact that now, like
the Hellboy thing.
Yes.
I can't remember. We haven't talked about it on the podcast, have we?
I think we had a similar type of discussion, but go ahead.
I think we talked about the Ghost in the Shell reboot.
Yeah.
No, not for the podcast. I can't remember.
I don't know. We'll just talk about it briefly again, though.
Yeah, like the Ghost in the Shell thing, people were getting up in arms because it was Scarlett Johansson that was cast as the Major.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't give her the name, they just called her the Major. But it was a white woman playing an Asian role that everyone knew. It's anime, so of course you need Asian characters. And then people were giving her shit for the decision made by the directors.
Right.
And then the Hellboy thing, I already forgot the name of the actor. But, like, he had accepted the role, and then, like, people were, again, getting up in arms about it, and he decided... I can't remember if the decision came because of the fans getting upset, or because he started reading a little bit more about the character he was supposed to play, and he saw that it was supposed to be Asian descent, and he stepped it down.
Yes.
So, like, someone from the appropriate, I'm trying to say culture, but I don't want to say culture. Like...
I mean, someone of the appropriate race, really.
Yeah, someone of the appropriate race, someone that would be more appropriately represent the character could be cast.
From what I understood, I think it was the latter. I think he did actually turn it down because he was just like, I'm a white guy and this isn't right.
Yeah! So, like, that kind of thing. That's another culture appropriation thing.
Yeah, and props to him for doing that.
Yeah. Oh, they're calling it whitewashing.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And it is, right?
Yes.
I mean, but you do see progress. Like, I do want to say, like, when you watch, like, the old black and white movies of the 1950s.
Oh, my God. And even the 1920s.
Yeah, I always remember because I crack up when I talk to my father. We always bring up John Wayne in The Conqueror because they had him play Genghis Khan. And it was the worst travesty on earth. I think it failed even
Oh, my God.
back in the days it was released, but... It was just so... you watch it today, and we watch it for humor. It's hilarious.
The cringe factor?
Yeah, it's so bad. It's entertaining. I mean, it's shockingly bad, but it's... you're just like, what in the fuck possessed these people, even back in this day? Like, you couldn't find any Asian person that could possibly fill in a role, or, like, it'd be too hard.
That's the thing that's so stupid. Okay, you have a role, like Moana.
Yeah.
Okay, Polynesian.
Hmm?
They cast... I cannot pronounce her name. The voice of Moana. She is Hawaiian.
Yes.
And, like, that fits because even though it was just a voice, it's still from the correct chunk of land in the world.
Right.
And then I love The Rock, but, like, he's not Hawaiian. But he fit. He
fits because he's Samoan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then... They're like, it was doing so great, and then they had this popular white pop artist do a cover of the theme song for the movie.
Yeah.
And, like, did not need to do that. And include it in the soundtrack. It was fine to have it as a cover for, like, if it was something the pop artist did herself.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure she was contracted to record that for the soundtrack of the movie.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, it didn't play in the movie itself, it played in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
But it still kind of ruined it because they're like, oh, look, we've got, like, the correct group of people that are doing the representation of the voices. And now we have white pop artists.
Yeah, it's like we capped a white person at the end to give you that little bit of comfort.
Yeah, so like, they ruined it. Not necessarily ruin the movie, because it's a good movie. I like it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
It's cute. It's adorable.
Well, what I guess kind of winding down, do you have any passing thoughts on the matter of whitewashing and racism? And
everyone can be racist. Like, you can say you're not racist until you're blue in the face, but you are going to have these preconceptions that you are pretty much molded into while you're a kid that you're not. No one is 100% not racist. There's always something that you are going to be discriminatory against, even if it's subconsciously.
Well said. Okay, well, I guess that's it for episode 16. Thank you for tuning in.
This has been AB.
And I'm the Panda.
Peace out, yo.
OnBullshit.